To prep for Election Day, there are a couple of things that you will need to do as a vote center inspector. First, you'll need to pick up your inspector supplies on Saturday, May 4th at one of the same 4 convenient locations that have always been used. Those are listed in your resource guide. Now that's where you'll pick up this, your inspector kit. Open it at your earliest convenience and make sure it contains all of the items listed in your resource guide. If you're missing any items, contact the election board. Review the binder inside your kit. It contains the keys to your polling equipment, credentials for your poll team, the Secretary of State's handbook, and other forms and resource materials. Along with your kit, you'll receive your ballot transfer case. It is imperative you do not open the ballot transfer case prior to Election Day. Your inspector kit also contains contact information for your vote center team and your vote center location. The day before the election, you have some calls to make. First, contact each member of your poll team, and if your polling place allows, schedule a time for them to meet you later that night to set up. Call your polling location to confirm the building will be unlocked both that evening for setup and the next day at 5 when you and your team will arrive. Now let's look at what will be going on the day before the election.
It's Election Eve, the night before the election. Your vote center team will want to do as much preparation as possible to reduce the work you have to do on election morning. 5 a.m. comes pretty early. First, arrange the voting equipment and furniture in your vote center. Also, make a note of how the room was arranged when you got there so you can be sure to leave it the same way you found it. You'll want a layout that provides a logical and smooth flow of voter traffic like this example. The goal is to create a clear and open design from the check-in at the poll pad, to the voting at the express vote, to submitting their vote in the DS200. More instructions and a copy of this example can be found in your resource guide. Most importantly, to ensure we provide complete accessibility to voters with disabilities, you will need to establish your voter accessibility station with the adjustable height table. You should also get your express vote machines set up the night before. Start by unsealing the black padded bag and placing the seal into the zipper pack. Remove the machine and place it face down on the table. Insert the power cord into the machine. The flat side of the power cord sleeve should be facing the top of the machine. Pull the kickstand out all the way and plug the power cord into an outlet. Do this for all your express vote machines, including the one at your accessibility station. Finally, hang the posters and Voters' Bill of Rights provided in your inspector kit in the appropriate locations at your site. That's it for Election Eve. Remind your vote center team to be there the next morning at 5 a.m. sharp. Make sure you have made arrangements for food and drink. And go home and get a good night's sleep. You'll need it.
Election Day at last. As promised, your vote center team should plan to arrive at 5. Inspectors who are unable to serve should call the hotline immediately. If an inspector has not arrived at their vote center by 5 a.m., a clerk should call the hotline immediately. Well, it's time to get to work. A couple of clerks can begin by placing signs and accessibility items outside, things like ramps, cones, and parking signs. Place your official voting site sign outside your vote center, and define the start of your shoot by hanging the No Campaigning sign 50 feet from the entrance to the room where people will vote. Be sure to enforce this state law throughout the day. Do not let people campaign or hand out flyers in the shoot area. While this is going on, inspectors, it's time to open your sealed ballot transfer case. Inside, you will find express vote ballots and the poll pad. If either of these are missing or incorrect, call the hotline immediately. It's time to set up the voting equipment, and you'll start with the poll pad. Every vote center will have at least one poll pad. We'll show you the process for setting up the poll pad, and if you need more detailed instructions, refer to your resource guide. Take the poll pad in the bubble pack from inside the ballot transfer case and open the green poll pad case which was stored in the DS200. Remove all the items from the poll pad case and assemble the poll pad base and stand. Now attach the stand to the poll pad. Attach the clear ID tray with the arrow facing up. The stand should be able to rotate 360 degrees to allow the voter to sign in on the screen. Insert the power cord into the back of the printer with the arrow facing up. The power cord has a sleeve and its flat part should be facing up. Plug the power cord into an outlet and turn it on. Plug in the poll pad and keep it plugged in as much as possible during Election Day to preserve battery power. Plug in and turn on the MiFi. Hold the power button for more than 5 seconds. If your poll pad is not transmitting a signal by 5:30 a.m. on Election Day, you will receive a call from the election board to help resolve the situation. Turn on your poll pad by holding the power button until the Apple logo appears. Tap the P on the screen and the details of the election will appear. 2 logins and 2 passwords, one from each party, are required to start the poll pad. You'll find these on the key lanyard luggage tag where you found the election code. Finally, select the printer icon in the upper right corner of the screen to print a test ticket to ensure the poll pad is communicating with the printer. Your poll pad is now ready to check in voters. If you have any questions or difficulties setting up or starting your iPad, refer to your resource guide first. And if that doesn't solve your problem, call the hotline at 327-2000. Next, you'll start up your express vote machines. Again, we will show you the process from start to finish. If you need more detailed instructions, they have been provided in your resource guide. Your express vote machine should be set up and plugged in from the night before. If they are not, you can find instructions in Video Module 3 or in your resource guide. Start by removing the seal on the left panel and using the barrel key, open the panel. Make sure that the mode switch is set to voter, then turn the power on. Carefully close and lock the panel. Ensure that any cords coming out of the panel are fed through the notch in the door and are not pinched by the closed door. It might take up to 5 minutes for the screen to appear. Be patient. Do not touch the screen until the keyboard appears. No matter what the machine tells you, it does not need to be calibrated. When the keyboard appears, carefully and slowly enter the election code that you'll find on the key lanyard luggage tag from your inspector's kit inside the resource binder. Then press Accept. Verify that the correct election date has appeared on the screen and press OK. When the express vote is ready, you'll see the screen that says, "To begin voting, insert your card." Remember, do not open either the right side panel or the front panel with the images on it. That's it! Your express vote machines are ready for voting. If you have any questions or difficulties, refer to your resource guide first, and if that doesn't solve your problem, call the hotline at 317-327-2000. Each vote center will have one and only one DS200 machine to officially record all the votes cast on Election Day. Start by making sure the DS200 is in place and lock the 2 front wheels. Use the flat silver key to check that both front bins are empty. Remove any items that might have been stored there. Using the same key, open the back panel and plug the power cord in. Leave the back panel open for ventilation. To turn on your DS200, remove the plastic seal and place it in the zipper pack. Open the latches and use the barrel key to unlock and raise the screen. The DS200 will automatically power up, but be patient, it may take up to 2 minutes. Once the screen has loaded, enter the election code found on the key lanyard luggage tag. Press Accept. The DS200 will automatically run a configuration report, which you can keep in your binder or store with your zero tape. Verify that the election date on the screen is correct. Press the green Open Polls button. The DS200 will automatically begin to generate a zero tape. The zero tape gets signed at the bottom by all poll workers present during printing. The zero tape then gets sealed into the zero tape envelope that goes inside the red bag. If you need to generate additional zero tapes, refer to your resource guide or Video Module 6, Unique Scenarios. Now, press the green Go to Voting button on the screen. When the screen says, "Welcome, please insert your ballot," the DS200 is ready to go. Remember, if you have any questions or difficulties initiating any of the voting equipment, refer to your resource guide first, and if that doesn't solve your problem, call the hotline at 317-327-2000. Inspectors, you'll have some administrative duties to attend to before the polls open. You and your team should sign all necessary oaths and affidavits, which you will find in the back of your resource guide. Take an inventory of all your vote center supplies to be sure you have everything you need. And finally, pass out the credential lanyards to your team. Speaking of your team, each vote center will be staffed with one inspector and as many clerks as are needed to handle the expected voter traffic at your vote center. For specific duties of inspectors and clerks, refer to your resource guide. And finally, you'll need to keep track of all visitors to your vote center. The only people allowed inside the vote center are voters and people with the proper credentials. Watchers, appointed by the parties, can observe and ask for a public vote count, but must not observe any password entry or interfere with voters. Media watchers must have special credentials issued by either the election board or the Secretary of State and will have received specific instructions about what they can record and photograph. Outside the vote center, which also means outside the 50-foot shoot area, people are permitted to distribute campaign materials and conduct exit polling. Voters are allowed to bring campaign materials into the vote center to assist them in voting. Don't forget to remove any campaign materials left by voters from your voting room throughout the day. And as always, if you have an emergency of any kind, call 911 immediately. That's everything you need to know to get your vote center up and going on Election Day. Next comes the most important part of all, serving the voters. The #1 priority of Indy Votes is making sure the Marion County voters have a great experience voting. This means you're there to help in any way possible with a smile on your face. It's all about the voters, and Indy Votes means we are all voting faster, easier, and anywhere in Marion County.